Hello everybody, welcome to Crafty Soup. My name is Misty. I just got home from a camping trip this past week, and so I haven't had a chance to edit any of the videos I filmed before the trip, so I should have a stash of videos for you in the next few days. Now, first up is the first challenge over at the Counterfeit Kit Challenge group, and that challenge was to talk about getting lost. Now, the theme is about travel, but I'm going to talk about getting lost on the internet, and I'm sure we've all done that before, right? So one day I discovered that hostas are edible, and that totally shocked me. And so I went down this rabbit hole on the internet of all of these plants you see pictured here that are actually edible. So I chose the fruit paper from my counterfeit kit, and this paper, I had it in my kit and I had no idea what I was going to do with it. So it turns out to be really perfect for this layout. And because I have so many photos, I'm going to really keep things concentrated on this center section. Going through my papers, I was looking for a contrasting pattern that could work to hold my title, and I decide on this darker wood grain print. And I think my title is going to be in blue, so that should help out with more contrast between the blue and this dark wood grain. And since there's blue in the leaves and the fruits in the background, I think that blue will work just fine. And I know a lot of my bits and pieces in my kit this month are on the larger size, so as I'm going through all these things, I realize there's just not a lot of room for most of that stuff. I did find a card that I'm going to use for journaling that I will tuck behind that upper photo. And in the meantime, I've moved on to getting my title done, and you can see it's going to say, well, eventually it will say down the rabbit hole, but there's the part that at least says rabbit hole. And then my journaling will talk about how I got lost on the internet looking up all of these edible things. And I actually found a website that's all about native and unusual edibles that we don't use as food sources much anymore. And so now I've got this big grand idea that I'm going to create a section of my garden that's all about these plants that we would otherwise think of as ornamental, and they're actually edibles. So that is that. And with that yellow journaling card, I decide that the rest of my title, which is down the part, should be in yellow also, so I can bring in some pops of yellow to spread around the layout. And I put that on a little bit of a tag that I cut out of a blue pattern. And notice I used that rainbow strip from the edge of the paper, and it does have a hole in it because it was from a paper pack. And I just cover up that hole with an enamel dot, and that satisfies my need not to have a glaring hole in the middle of that piece. And then I get to use that piece, which I otherwise would have thrown away. I pulled out some more yellow labels that I had created myself from some yellow paper and some white heat embossing, and I want to help them pop just a little bit more off the page, so I'm bringing in a little bit more blue with this stamping. This is the stamp set that I used when I created some of those label pieces, but not all of them. And so I had just tucked that stamp set in my kit for this month, knowing that I wanted to create some more things. And it's actually turning up handy for doing this other layering step. I did grab a sheet of vellum, which was not in my kit, but since I have vellum lying around my studio, I could just grab that and throw that into my crafting. When I'm finishing up my journaling tab here, I put on that little handle so that I can pull it out of the journaling pocket that I've created with my photo. I give it a little bit of decorative edging with a stapler, and because staples sometimes can be snag inducing when you pull them in and out, I did cover those staples up with a piece of tape. And now I'm going to layer behind my little yellow labels more of these blue vellum stamped pieces and punched pieces, and there I'm just inking up an edge of a punched piece to give it more blue color and a little bit more definition. And in addition to the layering with the vellum, I'm also popping some things up on foam tape to give it all just a little bit more texture and dimension. And then I'm just spreading out these little pieces around. I've got some flags and banners, and it's just a matter of trying to decide how I want everything to flow. And the other thing I try to do is balance out that stapling that I did on my journaling label, so I am sure to add a little bit of stapling to other areas of the project, which, there it is, there's the staple. And I got those going on in my tiny little clusters around the edges. And I try and create just a little bit of a visual triangle with those clusters, and then I'm going to call it done after I get all of this stuff adhered. And when my layouts are often on the simpler side, I will definitely add these borders. I find that a nice finishing touch. It helps kind of hold everything together visually, and it is a simple way to finish off a layout. Except when I was working, I forgot that I wanted to add labels to each of those photos to explain what each of those plants are. So I pulled out that tag punch again. I'm going to create a little bit of journaling lines on there so that I can label each photo with a number and then match up that number with a journaling that at least says what the name of the plant is. And with the labels in place, I do punch out these little flowers that I hand number and put on each photo. And I do change that up a little bit later into some circles, which you'll see in the final photos. But all of this vellum is adhered with this specialty vellum adhesive sheets from Glue Dots. And I'm actually out of that adhesive, so I'm going to be trying a new brand. So hopefully in upcoming videos, you can see what I think of that newer vellum adhesive. And really, that is it for this time. So as I leave you with these still photos, I want to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope to be back with a few more quick layout process videos this week for you, and also the SCT Sampler Kit unboxing. So I hope you will join me in the next few days for those things. Until then, have an artful day.